السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Welcome back to Muhammad Qasim's channel, and today we are discussing about the dreams related to Pakistan and what is the future of Pakistan essentially. It is a very important aspect that we need to discuss from Muhammad Qasim's dreams perspective, because as we know, many of his dreams related to the future actually stage around Pakistan and the development of Pakistan. Muhammad Qasim has seen that Pakistan develops significantly, and it grows beyond expectations of the world, what the world might have, and how exactly that might happen and when that might happen. Perhaps we'll be able to answer some clues about this today. Before we begin, in the previous discussion, we have discussed about the dreams related to Imran Khan and how Imran Khan has um, uh, gone through his leadership, the difficulties that he experienced in his leadership, and the end outcome of him being ousted from his leadership. All of these things that happened to Imran Khan were actually shown to Muhammad Qasim earlier in his dreams from 2017 to 2022. If you want to look at those dreams in particular, have a look at the previous video. We are working on getting the subtitles up, so hopefully once they are back up, we will be able to show you a little bit more, and you will be able to understand a little bit more about the context of this discussion. Um, all right, so I believe my audio is working well. Apologies for the audio being very low in the previous live session. Hopefully this will not be a problem today. But if you guys cannot hear me, please let me know, and inshallah we'll be able to adjust something quickly to help you. Sometimes technology, we hope that it assists us in communicating. It doesn't always work, unfortunately. So, stories about the conception of Pakistan. We can actually date this back to the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Through many hadiths and divine inspirations and indications, we come to learn that the creation of Pakistan or the existence of Pakistan was actually made to serve Islam. But the situation of Pakistan as we see it today, and especially what it has been in the last few decades, it has not been anywhere near the stature of being a world leader or leading the Muslim Ummah, as we have heard from Muhammad Qasim Stream. So, how is this actually about to happen, or how is this going to happen? Is certainly something that from a perspective of common thought is not easily understood. But we will be able to look into some indications that are shown in Muhammad Qasim's dreams, and perhaps we will be able to get some clues about where the events are going towards. So in today's lectures, what we will first look at are some of the hadiths relating to the existence of Pakistan, and some inspirations that have come about. We first begin with the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as reported in the by Musnad Ahmad. This hadith says that prophethood shall remain among you as long as Allah wills. Then Khilafat on the matter of prophethood will commence and remain as long as Allah wills. Then a corrupt monarchy will come, or a time of corrupt monarchists will come. It will remain as long as Allah wills. And then there will be a tyrannical despotism, which will remain as long as Allah wills. Then, after all of these events, once again, Khilafat will emerge on the precept of prophethood. Now, on the commentary of this hadith, a lot of the scholars have come to an agreement or come to a common understanding that the time that we're living in right now is that of the tyrannical despotism, meaning to say that the leaders are corrupt, they are causing oppression on the people. Even within Muslim countries, we see that many leaders are actually out of the way of Islam. They're not implementing the values of Islam or carrying forward the values of Islam. And there's widespread oppression across the world against Muslims. The coming of Khilafat once again. So it's something that we have to understand what Khilafat actually means. The term Khilafat means successorship. So the Khalifa is a successor to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in the first stage after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam left this world, we know that the Khilafat was originally established by the Khalifa Rashidun, namely Abu Bakr raziyallahu ta'ala anhu, Umar raziyallahu ta'ala anhu, Usman raziyallahu ta'ala anhu, and Ali raziyallahu ta'ala anhu. So the return of the Khilafah, the essence of the Khilafat after corrupt monarchies and tyrannical oppressive leaders reflects to the coming back of Islam, the coming back or implementation of Islam as it was during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is a very important hadith. We'll get back to some of the questions. I'm just going to have a quick look whether everyone can hear me properly. Looks like there's no issue here. Okay, fantastic. So, according to this hadith, or the understanding about this hadith, what we see is that the time of the Khilafat will come back, and the Islam as it was implemented 1400 years ago during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inshallah, that time will also come back. And that will be the final stage because there's further commentary about this hadith that after saying these words, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam kept quiet, and what the scholars have interpreted from that is that this will be the last event to happen before Judgment Day comes in. A very profound hadith, and this, I guess, from a lot of people's perspective, maybe not as well heard, but it certainly indicates of the times that we are living in and where this world is going towards, the conclusion that it's heading towards. But it does raise a question in our mind that okay, we have seen the time of the Khilafat of the Rashiduns, we have seen gone through the monarchies, the corrupts, the oppressors. So what or where is the Khilafat going to occur from? Where does it come from? And we get some indications about this from the hadiths of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we'll discuss them just briefly before we go on. One of the first hadiths that we're looking at is in the Darul Kutub al Ilmiya, and this hadith goes by the saying, "Near your treasure, three people will kill one another. Each of them will be a son of Khalifa, but it will not be to any of them. Then the black flags will come from the east." Now, keep in mind these points that I have highlighted in yellow, and we will come back to these points later on. Then the black flags will come from the east, and they will fight you in a way that no nation had ever fought. Then Prophet Muhammad mentioned something and said, "When you see him, pledge allegiance to him, even if you have to crawl on snow. For verily he is the Khalifa of Allah, the Mahdi." So there's an indication that black flags will come from the east, and there's another indication that this is where the Khalifa will be, or indication towards the Khilafah coming from that area. Another hadith that has been narrated in Al-Barzanji in Sha'aha lil Asharat, a nation will come from the east with black flags, once again, east and black flags, and they will ask for some goodness or authority, but the people will not give them. Then they will fight and win over these people. Now the people will give them what they had asked for, but they will not accept it until they will hand it over to a person from my progeny who will fill this earth with justice, just as it was previously filled with oppression and tyranny. So if any one of you finds this nation, that is the nation from the east with black flags, then you must join them, even if you have to crawl over ice. And then we come across to similar, again, mentions in the hadith. They will emerge from Khorasan, black banners, which nothing will repel until they are set up in Jerusalem. And then there's another hadith which says, surely black flags will appear from the Khorasan until the people will tie their horses with the olive trees between Bayt al-Lahya and Harasta. Now, the indication that we see here is that, or from the hadith that we come to understand, is that there will be an army that will rise from the east, more likely from where the Khorasan is. And this army will have the Mahdi in it, and this army will liberate Muslims throughout, and it will establish the Khilafah on earth. So, after having read through, understanding these points, we now look at or concern about what is actually Khorasan. And Khorasan was an area during the times of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This area was bound much by modern day Afghanistan, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and some parts of Pakistan. And now the exact geography of what area it actually had is unclear because of the fact that this was such a long time ago. So we don't have full correct references about where Khorasan was or where it existed. But there are some indications that the researchers have done in their analysis, and they have presented an overview. So what we can generally understand is that Khorasan covered a area which is pretty much modern day Afghanistan, northern or northern eastern parts of Iran, western part of Pakistan, and the countries at the top where we've got Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. And this was the ancient Khorasan of the times of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But what is also important to understand is that this area, if we don't consider or we don't look at the Khorasan perspective, this area east of where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was at that time when he narrated these hadiths, east of that area includes a broad countries that are Muslim countries at this stage, and they are predominantly covering the countries of Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, and going towards India. So uh, the area concerned with Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, and pretty majorly is the one that we are looking at from the perspective of the Hadiths. So east of Mecca and Medina are these countries that exist. Now, one other thing that is also important to note is the account of George Thomas Napier George Thomas Napier was a British Army officer. This is at the time of the Peninsular War, and he commanded the army of Cape Colony. He was the one who described Khorasan as containing or covering the areas of Afghanistan, Iran, and the western parts of Pakistan. Now, the context of these hadiths have been discussed in great detail by the scholars of present and past. Some of the scholars that are very prominently known to have talked about these hadiths, especially from Pakistan, is Dr. Israr Ahmed. Not many people, I guess, know about him from a Western world perspective, but in the subcontinent, he was a very well-known, renowned scholar of Islam, and he had written many books about Pakistan and the importance of Pakistan and the future of Pakistan. And he had a lot of passion about what he understood about Pakistan and the future of Pakistan. Similarly, we have other scholars, of whom a prominent scholar is Sheikh Imran Hussain. He has also talked about Pakistan, predominantly in his research on Islamic eschatology. Now, Islamic eschatology covers an aspect of future or predicting or concluding what events will happen until the end of Qiyamah. And in this Islamic eschatology, Pakistan seems to have an important role to play in the future, an important place in the future, as you could see. Now, I've mentioned only a couple of scholars here, but there are a wide number of scholars. Perhaps some are not as popular as others, and they come to a similar conclusion about Pakistan. A lot of these scholars are mostly based in the eastern subcontinental area or Indonesia and Malaysia, as opposed to the West. But their understanding or the conclusions, the talks that they have made, what we can make conclusion that we can make from what they have said is that Pakistan, or things about Pakistan, is that Pakistan was made for Islam. It was made on the name La ilaha illallah. Pakistan, over its time, has failed to implement Islamic values within its country and its social structures. Uh, Pakistan will have a critical role to play in the future for Islam, and possibly the starting point of the Khilafat is likely be from Pakistan. Now, these are the conclusions that I have made after having listened to a lot of these lectures from the scholars that I've mentioned, and other scholars who talk about Pakistan and the importance of Pakistan based on the analysis of ahadith that are related to the end times. In addition to this, now that we have discussed the prophetic hadiths, nature, and the Islamic scholars, Sufi or spiritual Sufi traditions, there's a very strong hold of the Sufi practices and Sufi traditions within Pakistan, and there have been many walis termed as the friends of Allah that come from the subcontinental region, and many of these spiritual Sufi traditions or saints of the present and past, they have made astounding claims about Pakistan. Now, what they claim to be or what they claim to say are based on their personal inspirations, their personal experiences. They may include some aspect of learning or extracting from the hadiths or from the Islamic eschatology, but predominantly this is based on their personal inspirations. And one of the prominent figures in Pakistan who I have quoted here, his name is Baba Yahya Khan. He says, Pakistan was not born to die. It is made by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anha. He further says that it is a gift from Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anha, and nothing will happen to Pakistan. He asserted that the Pakistan will lead the whole Muslim world in the future. A point to note for us while we're having this discussion about what the Sufis have said, there is also another prominent Sufi saint from the subcontinental world. He goes by the name of Nematullah Shah Wali. He had made many predictions spanning 800 years, and a lot of his predictions came true exactly as what he had described in his writings. Um, in his writings, the picture that he's given is of the past more so than the present world or present time that we live in. And the past about the uh, time of the sultans, the wars that happened between Pakistan and India, those things have been discussed by him. And in one of his predictions, it is said that the war between India and Pakistan will happen or start between Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr, and Pakistan would get back all the areas which India annexed from it. So perhaps there will be a situation where India will annex areas from Pakistan. And then he goes on to say that there will be a lot of blood loss, or a lot of people will die in this war. And then there will be other countries surrounding Pakistan, like Afghanistan, Iran, and Turkey, that would actually help Pakistan in this war. So that was the prediction from Nematullah Shah Wali. Now, one important and prominent figure that we cannot forget in this discussion at the moment is that of the personal experience of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Now, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he's the founder of Pakistan. A little bit about his history. He grew up in the subcontinent, but then he went to the UK or England, where he studied and became a lawyer. And he spent much of his adult life there, as in the young youth adult life there, before coming to Pakistan. Now, while he was a lawyer, he was very much in touch with the people in the subcontinent, particularly the Muslim leaders of that time, who were going through the time of the British, perhaps leaving from the subcontinent, and there were discussions about what would happen, who would rule, who would be the leaders at that time. But anyway, this divine inspiration that Muhammad Ali Jinnah experienced was just before that time of the partition of the subcontinent happening. And Muhammad Ali Jinnah explains that one evening he was strolling in the lawn and he felt something unique. And that same day he went to sleep and he had a significant dream. In that dream, he saw Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered him to go to India and lead the Muslims to their destiny. Now, what happened after this was obviously uh, Muhammad Ali Jinnah coming to Pakistan, to the subcontinent, and taking a leadership role in the discussions for having a separate land and separate area for the Muslims. And from there on, the actual struggle and the partition began, where Pakistan was formed in 1947. So once again, a very significant dream of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, or a divine inspiration that we can say about the existence or formation of Pakistan. Now, while we're here, it is also important for us to understand uh, some of the hadiths that relate to seeing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in dreams. Now, the hadiths that we've got here, there's multiple narrations. I've got some references if you want to go and read them in further detail. the hadiths basically describe that seeing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a dream is truly seeing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because shaitan cannot appear in someone's dream by the image of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also, good dreams of a faithful believer is part of prophetism, 46th part of prophetism. And when it comes to the time closer to the end times, nothing will remain except for al-mubashirat. And al-mubashirat, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, were the true good dreams, or the dreams that convey good tidings to the people. So these are important things, or important hadith points, that we have to understand when we look at the concept of dreams, and we're discussing the aspect of dreams. And what it essentially indicates is that uh, what Muhammad Ali Jinnah saw in his dream, that coming into reality, the formation of Pakistan, a land for Muslims, uh, that was a true event that occurred. And it further strengthens this hadith about seeing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a dream, in a person's dream. So we've got some things that we can consider now. And before we close off from this historical overview, it is important that we take note of a few important points that we have discussed. And these important points, and I've also found some very interesting facts about Pakistan. We will go through them. Pakistan actually was founded on the day of the 27th of Ramadan. A lot of people believe that the 27th of Ramadan, the night of the 27th of Ramadan, is Laylatul Qadr. The name Pakistan in Persian or in Urdu, it's a mix. It has a similar meaning to that of Medina, which is a place for people that are pure, or pure people that live in a pure place. Then, based on what we have already reviewed in terms of the hadiths, uh, there will be a time that Khilafat will rise again, and this will be after the period of the tyranny that will come. During this time, an army will rise from the direction of east, most likely from the direction of Khurasan, and the Mahdi will be amongst them. It is important to understand that the direction of east and the direction of Khurasan should be understood as the way that it is. It's not actually Khurasan. And there's a lot of documentary, there's a lot of discussion on this as well in terms of hadiths, but we can't find anything conclusive that says within Khurasan. When you actually analyze the Arabic context of the hadiths, it's from the direction of Khurasan that is important. This army will be signified, or one of the signatures that it will have is it will have black flags. This is based on the hadiths. Then we understand that the formation of Pakistan was a destiny for the Muslims, according to Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah's dream, that Pakistan will have a critical role to play in the future of Islam. This is based on Islamic eschatology, and Pakistan will lead the whole Muslim world. This is what the Sufi spirituality traditions say about Pakistan. So, having understood some of these references that we have made, now we come to Muhammad Qasim's dream. And Muhammad Qasim's dreams have a very important and strategic uh, place in the understanding of the global events. And actually, this is my belief that the dreams fit into the historical hadith concept, and the story that is a bit vivid in the hadiths. Muhammad Qasim's dreams actually are indicative of what might happen, or what events might happen. And I'm led to believe that these dreams are true in the form of what events will happen, because of the fact that what has happened with Imran Khan has come true exactly as what Muhammad Qasim saw. And as I've discussed with you guys previously, Muhammad Qasim's dreams, he has actually seen events that will happen in his dreams, and he goes through that from an observer's point of view. He goes through those dreams, and the events that are shown to him, they connect with the hadiths, but they give us a bit more detail about what will happen. But well, one of Muhammad Qasim's very important dreams about why Pakistan was made. This dream is from 2006, where Muhammad Qasim says that he thought, or he says in the dream, that there's every vice, oppression, and injustice in Pakistan. So why did Allah make Pakistan? And the answer that he got was that 1400 years ago, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to supplicate to Allah that, "O Allah, near Qiyamah, create such a country whose name will be La ilaha illallah." And when Islam, or Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's Islam, would become weak in the entire world, then let it rise from this country into the entire world. And hence Pakistan was made by Allah. Now, very important dream, because this ties into the hadith about the fourth and the fifth stage, where we discussed the tyranny and we discussed the coming back of the Khilafah. This dream is indicating where that would come from. And we have looked at the Islamic eschatology and Sufi traditions, which are also indicating or confirming that Pakistan is the place where Islam might rise again from. And this is a very profound dream of Muhammad Qasim, which basically establishes the rationale for the existence of Pakistan. Then we have a dream of Muhammad Qasim from 2019. Now, Pakistan has gone through a very difficult past. There have been times from the formation of Pakistan in 1947 to now where Pakistan could have really lifted up. It's in a very strategic location, very central location to access to both the east and the west. It's nature of where Pakistan has played very important roles in the past, to the military roles. For example, when we look at the war between the USA and Russia, Pakistan played a fundamental role. And within the Muslim world, even today, the Pakistan army plays a very fundamental role. But Pakistan itself has not succeeded. It has not become independent as many of the countries of the world would say are. It's still in that developing country status. And what Muhammad Qasim has seen about this is that many rulers have come into Pakistan, but Pakistan did not succeed. In 2019, he also saw that Imran Khan will also fail, and people will have big hopes with him, and they will be disappointed after seeing that Imran Khan has also failed. Then Muhammad Qasim says that in that dream, he says that the reason that Pakistan has faced failure and disorder and never succeeded is because we have not been able to abolish shirk or eliminate shirk from the country. And this is the reason why Allah's help has never arrived for Pakistan. While we are here, the dreams of Muhammad Qasim from 2017 up until now, that he's seen various dreams about Imran Khan, his leadership, situation of Pakistan, important events that will occur or that will happen, they have all come true exactly as what Muhammad Qasim saw them. Then we have a future for Pakistan, Muhammad Qasim's dream. Muhammad Qasim has seen that Pakistan will rise and become a superpower, or a global superpower. It will do so by defeating the global powers that exist at the time, namely USA, Russia, and Israel and European countries. And this time will come after Pakistan goes through a system of changes. This system of changes begins with the implementation of Islamic presidential system or presidential system that is based on Islamic values. Now, this system will come into Pakistan after Imran Khan, and Muhammad Qasim has seen that once Imran Khan fails, there will be certain events that will happen within the country that will increase the level of chaos, and it will also cause a negative impact on the economy, on the financial position of the country, and it will lead to a situation where the presidential system will be implemented either by force, where the army comes in and makes that decision, or by an external force. We're not really clear about that, but we are expecting that the presidential system will come in and it will eliminate all forms of shirk from Pakistan. And that's when Allah's help and rahmah will come to the people of Pakistan, and Pakistan will start developing. Pakistan will progress by leaps and bounds in a short amount of time. So Pakistan will achieve a lot within a short amount of time. And Muhammad Qasim has said that the Western world or the outside world, people outside Pakistan, will be amazed at what they will come to know about Pakistan and what Pakistan has achieved, and peace and tranquility will prevail speedily in Pakistan, meaning that there will be a time of uh, peaceful operations. People will have what they need. There will be no more oppression. There will be no more difficulties within the country that Pakistan will face. Now, within the context of what we have discussed previously in this lecture about the black flags and the area from the east, Muhammad Qasim has seen that Pakistan will develop and will gain certain important uh, features, or you can say technologies. And now some of these technologies will be things that will, for example, remove the power shortage issue. For example, electricity is a big issue in Pakistan. So there will be some sort of a technology that will be developed or discovered that will fix the issue of electrical supply in Pakistan. Then Muhammad Qasim has also seen that there will be Allah will grant Pakistan with 3,000 black jet fighters, and Muhammad Qasim has seen that these black jet fighters play a central role in the wars that will be imposed upon Pakistan. For example, the war that happens from Ghazwa Hind perspective, and then the liberation that Pakistan will lead the Muslim world. Muhammad Qasim has seen that Pakistan will liberate all the Muslim countries up until the western side, and that it does by the help of those 3,000 black jet fighters. Now, these black jet fighters could possibly be the black flags that have been talked about in the Hadiths, because once again, Hadiths were 1400 years ago, so the concept of seeing black flags in today's world or today's modern warfare, we don't see armies using flags as they had used many years ago. And what Muhammad Qasim has also seen is that Pakistan has a very important role within the Muslim world. Pakistan is one of the castles, and there are two other castles, namely Turkey and Saudi Arabia. When the Malhamatul Kubra begins, which is the World War III, this will lead to the destruction of the Middle Eastern countries. And the battleground for this, by the way, is in the Middle East. And eventually Turkey falls and Saudi Arabia falls, and then Pakistan is the only country or the last minara of Islam left in the Muslim world, and then Islam rises again from Pakistan. So some of these things that we have discussed today, important, I guess, hold importance from our understanding about where Pakistan is and what the future of Pakistan is going to be in the coming years. Um, Remember the notion about the 3,000 black jet fighters that I've discussed, which holds very close significance with the black flags, and also the liberation of the Muslim world that Muhammad Qasim has seen in his dreams, that Pakistan will liberate the Muslim world from the west to the from the east to the west. Sorry, and that liberation is also discussed in the hadiths, where the army from Khurasan will uh, rest until it goes into Jerusalem and establishes Islam there. Uh, Very, once again, significant and important dreams of Muhammad Qasim about Pakistan. Now, as far as the current geopolitical situation of Pakistan is concerned, there were some questions raised in the previous discussion. Some people wanted to ask about what will happen to Imran Khan. Will he get elected again? What is happening with Shahbaz Sharif? He Muhammad Qasim said that Imran Khan is the last political option, but Shahbaz Sharif is now the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So I would like to take some minutes to clarify these things. Basically, Imran Khan being the last political option meant that Imran Khan was the last person who will be elected by the people of Pakistan. Now, where we see the coming of Shahbaz Sharif, his presence in the government is not elected by the people. He has come by force, by going through the rules of a constitution. So we shouldn't confuse the two together. As far as re-elections are concerned, Muhammad Qasim saw a recent dream which has been made public. That dream is from the 15th of April 2022. You can check it on this channel. And that dream indicates that Imran Khan gets ousted, and then he tries very hard to get early elections, but he is unsuccessful in achieving them, or early elections do not happen. Whether they do end up happening in the future, we're not really sure about that at this stage. But even if they do happen, what we know is that the Islamic presidential system will come into play in Pakistan, and there will be certain series of events that will happen before that that will create perhaps such a situation that the presidential system will be implemented. And some of those things I've discussed previously, but the important things that we can repeat are that there will be a tragedy or a death of an important politician in Pakistan that will create this chaos. And there's also a dream of Muhammad Qasim about the attack that will happen on Lahore. There will be a large part of Lahore that will get captured by the anti-Pakistan forces, and this will create a chaos within the country. But what we come to know is that from Muhammad Qasim's dreams, as they're becoming popular in Indonesia and Malaysia and the Eastern countries, there are a lot of Muslim scholars and ulamas that are recognizing these dreams, and that has been already shown to Muhammad Qasim that his dreams are getting popular there. There have been some questions about whether Muhammad Qasim has seen the seen any dreams about Imran Khan's future. I'm sorry, we don't know of anything that um, we can discuss, unfortunately. But we know that there is going to be a situation where the Army Chief of Pakistan will recognize Muhammad Qasim's dreams, and after recognizing Muhammad Qasim's dreams, Army Chief of Pakistan will set some um, strategies in place that will basically allow for Pakistan to plan according to the Muhammad Qasim's dreams and also implement Islam correctly in Pakistan. Now, I'm just going to have a quick look at some of the questions, if we can answer them for you today. We've got a question from gentleman Muhammad Qasim. Will he be present in today's live discussion? Unfortunately not, but we are discussing and working on it. The more popular we can get these sessions to get, the easier it will be, inshallah, to get Muhammad Qasim on board and have a discussion. He is a very shy person. He's a very personal and reserved personality. He doesn't always feel comfortable to come online, but inshallah, within these sessions in the future, we will find a time and a day to have discussion with Muhammad Qasim. All right, let's have a look. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone who has sent salam. Good to see you, my brother from Bangladesh. Has Army Chief listened to Qasim Bhai or not, please? Wa alaikum assalam. Dear servant, no, we don't know and we don't think so. We don't think that the Army Chief has listened to Muhammad Qasim or not, but perhaps there are some people who will watch this video and they can communicate the dreams of Muhammad Qasim to him. It's all just a matter of getting the information through to him, inshallah, one day. Walaikum salam from Indonesia. Very good to see you from Indonesia and Malaysia. Qazi Nafis, I'm sorry, brother. I uh, cannot talk in Urdu because we had a lot of people who wanted to talk in English. I can't speak two languages at the same time. I'm really sorry, but we will have subtitles that you can come and watch this video later and read the subtitles. I'm sorry about that. We have our brother from India or a sister from India. Welcome, good to see you. MashaAllah. All right. Any other question? Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. All right. So not any questions that I can see. Oh, there's a question about Khurasan, which nation? Khurasan, I believe that it was the ancient Persia that we are discussing here, but it was a territory like that existed during the times of Roman. And the territory was forever changing depending on the surrounding parties or surrounding areas. So Khurasan actually at that time included Afghanistan, which was the main country, and the surrounding areas of Afghanistan, which includes Iran, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan at the top. Once again, the exact boundaries were not fully clear off because this was a long time ago where maps did not exist. But there have been some commentary and some discussions about where the rough boundaries are, and I've discussed that in this video. Can you please explain the birthplace of the Mahdi according to Hadith? Now, birthplace of Mahdi, according to Hadiths, the Sahih Hadiths that we have read and understood, the birthplace of Mahdi is not discussed. The only discussion that we can make a pinpoint conclusion to about Mahdi is that he is going to be in Mecca and Medina at the time that the Bay'ah happens, and that is when he will be formally recognized as the Mahdi. Before that, he is not going to be the Mahdi. Whoever, I guess, comes to that point of realization needs to understand that the Mahdi doesn't necessarily have to be from the Arabic background. Uh, since the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ have left this world, if we just do quick mathematics, for example, every generation that came after him in the family of Fatma radiallahu anhu, even if there were two males that could carry the genealogy forward, we would have over 25 million people after 1500 years. So 25 million people means that anyone could be anywhere, and it's very difficult for us to understand um, or pinpoint to the fact that where that particular person from the family of Prophet Muhammad SAW would be. We can't say that they would be in Saudi Arab or Oman or Egypt. They could potentially be anywhere in the world. But what we do know for certain is that at the time of Bay'ah, the person will be in Medina and Mecca, and there is a famous hadith of that there will be a fight or a quarrel between three sons of a Khalifa, and during that quarrel or that time of difficulty, the Mahdi will move from Medina to Mecca, and that's when he will be called upon or recognized as the Mahdi. So we don't know, according to Hadith, what the birthplace of the Mahdi is, and I think it wouldn't be wise to make conclusions on that unless we have a thorough knowledge and understanding on it. Welcome, my brother from Bangladesh. Welcome from Indonesia. Welcome from Malaysia. Welcome from India. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. I hope that you are all able to understand or get a better understanding of Muhammad Qasim's dreams about Pakistan. Please have a look at this channel where there are dreams uploaded about Pakistan. Also go to muhammadqasimpk.com and have a read about the dreams related to Pakistan. The reason we are doing these live discussions is to create a context for our viewers so they can easily understand the importance of dreams from a perspective of what's happening globally or what has happened in the past or what is happening in the present. And we hope, inshallah, that Allah helps us deliver this message such that people are able to understand Muhammad Qasim's dreams a little bit better, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah khair for being here with us and listening to this live telecast. Inshallah, next week we have another important topic. We will be discussing, I have an important message for the Muslim scholars and ulamas. So, inshallah, next Sunday's topic, we will go through that one. Until then, stay safe, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep you all safe and your family safe and happy and blessed, inshallah. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.